Yeah, how's it going today? It's 27th of September, and we're gonna be taking a look at the market, and we will try to cover a lot. Since we were focusing on other things other than press releases, we were focusing on and going more in detail with regards to some of the important information and all, where a lot of attention should be, right? Or money is being spent, quote unquote, right? But either way, in today's video, we're gonna be trying to cover and bringing everyone up to date with the most recent developments, right? And all government, UK's government press releases. So not necessarily it might be very unique problems, right, compared to other regions. But either way, let's begin. And there's gonna be important areas like energy, food, space, and opportunities. Potentially, that's how I would group today's video in the different sections, right? First article is something that would be published yesterday. That's the UK constraint instructions feature liquefied natural gas plants. That would perhaps lead to, in particular, before coming into winter months, energy prices already very high, so they're gonna keep on rising, I believe, and with most developments, right? Latvia, the UK has sanctioned five ships and entities involved in Russian liquefied natural gas (LNG) sector. uh, Perhaps that would capture everything what is happening, not necessarily so many articles to read, right? LNG is an important source of funding for current conflicts in the world. Russia has plans to expand its LNG revenue, aim to grow the global LNG market share from 8% to 20%, and potentially some of the actions have been taken, including what UK is doing, perhaps, as well as other governments, right? Next article, that will be NDA Group investing in our communities. The Nuclear Commission Authority (NDA Group) has today published its 2023 and or 2024 socioeconomic report detailing record investment in projects across UK. Over the last 5 years, NDA Group has invested 60 million in projects that enable permanent and sustainable change in its site communities, leveraging many millions more from partners, right? That would decommissioning, right? So potentially old facilities and all everything related to the sector and how it could be used, all those kind of things, and investments being made, including 60 million, and potentially, as of now, finances might be spent very locally compared to nationwide, right? And that's UK. Well, take a look at nuclear. I thought I'll touch on some of these opportunities and people who are interested in working in this sector. That will be open calls for people to engage. It's just something that was sent it to me today, so I thought I'll share that information with others. As well as we can take a look at the next article. It's something that is happening with the nuclear sector, right? Uh, then we're taking a look at NDA. That would be end of the cycle. So that would be once uh, it's been used, right? So perhaps we can begin and or take a look at beginning of a cycle. That would be AUKUS meeting announced progress on nuclear reactor training. AUKUS nations will work closely together to boost global security following their conclusions on the landmark meeting in London, right? We can briefly touch on it, but not necessarily that any business would be able to work in the sector, right? It might be important. Hundreds of Australian defense and civil personnel will be upskilled in nuclear reactor expertise in 2025 by specialized Royal Navy engineers. The first such course concludes earlier this month, with 250 personnel learning the skills necessary to own, operate, maintain, sustain, and regular nuclear powered submarines. So all these kind of areas, right? But most likely that will be defense. So since we are taking a look at energy shortage, perhaps the same skills might be transferable, if not right now, in the future, if those experts would have necessary knowledge. Perhaps the just Australian as of now personnel, but to the UK as well. Perhaps they would, if not right now, in the future, would consider upskilling all the people, and that would be more people entering into military, learning this kind of skills, and later in life, those skills can be transferable to perhaps energy production, since energy is prices is very high, as well as after years of services. Those people's skills can be transferable into energy sector in UK, and as of now, we're perhaps taking a look at Australia. So that should be important, and perhaps if not right now, in the future, that will be recognized by UK. Right? I thought I'll take a look at this article since it's 10 billion pounds, so it's not necessarily dollars. So that's a good start. New support for semiconductor firms to grow, powering growth in 10 billion UK industry. Support for semiconductors scale-ups announced as there is a name there kicks off a stakeholder forum ahead of G7 Semiconductor Points of Contact Group in Cambridge. As well as Cambridge has very powerful computers, all this kind of thing. So perhaps there's a lot of developments in the area, but again, that will be just something myself and know a lot of businesses might be interested in. And having that expertise when it comes to developing some of the projects would be very, very important. I have reached out to Cambridge and how to gain access to supercomputer, but I couldn't begin even talks. So I don't know. So I have the chat to other supercomputers, but it's very hard thing to do, by the way. But yeah, there's some of the developments, I guess. Perhaps others have more luck than myself, right? Let's progress to the next article. Let's take a look at food security. So we can begin where there's a line survey where stakeholders, so to say, well, people, businesses, customers, investors, or so, government, or everyone can express their views when it comes to sea fishing, in particular when it comes to Celtic Sea and Western Channel. In some of those areas, since we were taking a look at Australia, perhaps this sector is or water is being overfished. So there's a lot of developments, and or perhaps areas that should be of the concern. How much data is being collected, and perhaps how that data is being understood as of now. That would be a main point. And in addition to that, perhaps government is looking to carry out survey where stakeholders can express their views, right? While that's important, let's take a look at article that would be first large scale up onshore salmon project at risk over factory farm claims. Animal rights campaigns would judicial review over pioneering 120 million scheme at Grimsby Port. So let's take a look at this article. That would be important, perhaps. Something that was published this month on 15, 2 weeks ago. So since myself, when it comes to investment, again, so do your own research and then trying to understand what would be sound investment. I believe food and or food security would be very important for everyone. And if waters, as are now being overfished, perhaps some of those projects could be operated and launched better, perhaps. I haven't read this article yet, right? So, but perhaps if I see some of those pain points, perhaps others, investors see those pain points as well. 120 million, that seems like a lot of money. So I don't know who written this article in what manner, but when it comes to food security and how to do and produce food at scale, and some of the factory farming, all those kind of things, practices, I don't know. So let's read this article and try to understand it. On former railway siding Gimsey Dock in Lincolnshire, the seafood industry is backing new plans for onshore salmon farm that claims will create jobs, cut emissions, and help meet the nation's huge demand for fish. So it might be that when it comes to setting up these kind of industries, but again, it's very risky, very, very risky, and I don't know why there's alternatives to salmon. So why they decided to go with salmon. as well as I don't know. The scheme will be UK's first large-scale onshore salmon farm with the first growing to weight of 4 or 5 kilograms. The project back says the closed system will prevent diseases and no invasions of sea lice, which can blight open net salmon farms. I don't know about this part. I don't know. Since I have done all the research to understand it, so I'm just reading this information. They say this way. I'm just reading it, and I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's bad, right? But some of those projects are being launched, right? But the project is now in the center of a large battle between the Northeast Lincolnshire Council, which for approval the scheme in November last year, and animal rights campaigners who claim it's new form of factory farming. The Animal Warfare Charity Animal Quality UK has successfully sought permission for judicial review over a scheme which supports to produce about 5,000 tons of fish a year. 5,000 tons. I don't know. Food security will be important as well as how much jobs, opportunities, all these kind of things will be created. But issue, I don't know. So it might be triggering article, trigger it. But anyway, it might be when it comes to food security, it might be a very important area. Everyone I think likes fish. At least they should consider having fish in their diet. Just depending, I guess, how much people are interested in paying for it. If people would like to pay premium for kilogram, so I don't know where the price is right now, £16 or so, depending on manufacturers. If it's £16 for 1 kilogram of salmon, and this is how many tons they are planning to producing in a year, and we have animal rights in the way how this species. I don't know. Let's progress to the next article. Next article, that would be Manchester to host 2025 UK Space Conference, which would be important, as well as let's take a look at a different article. I believe that UK should consider having those capabilities when it comes to internet connectivity. The US has this capability, and potentially Russia has plans to launch over 100 satellites into space this year, with $1.5 billion budget satellite to provide nationwide high-speed internet connectivity. That would be important. Perhaps some of those conferences, those areas could be discussed. How UK could consider having these capabilities as well as funding. So if UK would have it and perhaps sell these services to others, that would be potentially just putting up the capital upfront cost, and later the cost could be recouped over time, as well as it could be, if it's very fast internet, everyone would consider perhaps purchasing these services, right? And other governments are doing it, so I thought I'll touch on it. When it comes to internet and so-called sensors or Internet of Things, how those sensors of cars, drones, all these kind of things, phones, watches, all these kind of things could potentially have internet, right? Over time, if not right now, and that would be the future, right? So I thought I'll touch on it and close on that. Thanks for watching. See you next one.